don't know about their characters. This is your chance. I'll be back in just a second, guys.
I'm also going to run out the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
Oh, wow. All this time I've been talking to myself.
Proud of you.
And just like talking along with chat, thinking that they are actually replying to me.
Yeah, you probably should have done that.
I am gonna lay on
This
the couch
whole
while they're
time.
doing the if someone ends up needing a question from me, just let me know. I need you guys to stay.
Okay, so allow me to go ahead and re-answer some of those questions. If I could speak with RNGesus right now, I'd ask which nut I need to suck to fix this.
All of them.
Because these dice rolls are getting a little out of hand. As far as who I'm going to play after I lose my own mind, I don't know. But after Jakob loses his mind, we'll see. I'm not sure if this is a write-off for the character. And I really like that this is basically just, he's cursed at this point. He is convinced that his life has just been a curse at this point. Oh, Ryu, if you think this is bad, no. I think that we have had worse. Just as far as actions happening to a character, well, if I were making a character that was a support character or something like that, yeah, I would be doing healing no problem. But you got to remember, Jakob is a martial character. His life has been violence. The only reason he knows spellcraft at all is to further that violence. He was basically a thug, a drunkard. So he's trying to do good now. And, you know, the only reason he's doing any heal checks at all is because it was spur of the moment. Oh my God, I can't have another kid dying on me right now. I didn't even punch him. I slapped him open hand across the chest to get him back out. But no, I mean, think about it. I've killed 3 kids so far. One for not seeing him being within the fall of an AoE.
Brag about it.
What?
I said brag about it.
Yeah, the second, because I tried using Shocking Grasp as like a way to stun a character. And the third now, because I just laid a hand on him and delivered 2 points of damage.
You slapped a child in the chest. I fail to see how you think that's not going to be harmful.
I figured it would be harm. You know, I would be all right with a little bit of harm. You know, it was, you got to remember, in his headspace, he's in a hurry to get these two out of a burning building. He can't really grapple two people at the same time.
Vic flexing, is Vic asserting his...
But every time this has happened, it's been with the best intentions. He killed he was the precursor to an old man hanging himself and his paired dog, Lapooch, just dying. Lapooch, yeah.
All right, I'm back. I need to step away for a bathroom break. And I desperately need a new water because that one is hot.
Yeah, Jacob's more than paving the road to hell. He's basically just laying brickwork now.
Bub just used it as a really good example of the fact that, sure, Jacob killed a kid, and you guys are responsible for the death of hundreds of kids because you failed to act. I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's going to weigh so much on them, but maybe more so their previous characters, but this is definitely a learning experience. And for anybody that's watching, if you find yourself in one of my games in the future, something worth considering. Inaction, at times, is often worse than failing in action. So, hours will pass. 4, 5 hours. Before we see the first flutter of eyes. I'm going to guess that it's likely Cort or Jakob. Maybe both even. Do you guys say or do anything?
Oh no, Jacob is in a full-on depressive funk. It's lucky if he, does anything more than lay there at this point. Because he's still got this kid's blood on his hands.
Sure. Give me perception, please. Did Austin, run to the bathroom or something?
I'm guessing so.
I think he said he was going to lay down on the couch for the duration of questioning. I don't know if that turned into falling asleep. He did say he was feeling bad.
Okay. Well, at least his camera's still here. Gotta give him, at least an A for effort.
His pants are on the floor.
Oh, I heard him. I think I did. Or that was Steven. I
think
can't
you
tell.
heard Steven in the background.
Okay, Jacob. Depressed and let down with yourself, granted everything else that's happened, it's a fairly sorrowful moment. You're not really sure what to make of it. Now, beside yourself, you're having a bit of a pity party, some would say.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay. This is a moment where it's alright to be sad. Plenty has happened to everybody involved. Let's see if this is what I want to go with. This is quite what I had in mind. Yep, that'll work. This isn't the first time that someone has died by your hand. It certainly won't be the last. Many people have fallen to your blade, to your magic, to your wit, some even to your charm. And when you look across to Ulhime, you're not quite sure if you're staring at a friend, at a comrade, or if it's someone that you believe may turn against you, granted that you killed a child. Entirely up to you.
At a distance.
Not entirely sure if you're going to say anything about it, but it definitely weighs upon you. Your eyes fall around to the rest of the people. The sickened, the injured, the burned, the downtrodden, those that are dead. They lie in the rear side of the compound. In the training barrack. They mount, and the numbers keep growing. It is the only area that is treated similarly to that of like a ludus. It has one open mouth, where the rest are stone walls that are nearly 20 feet high. And bodies are stacked upon bodies upon bodies. Those that were failed to have been treated, those that came in dead, though their family mourned for them. Ulhime still trudges on. His flame never quite goes out. Rahk is a mess. This newfound half-orc. Who's next to Cort, of all people? Even Cort is exhausted. His eyes kind of bat up every now and then as he peers around to everybody. But he's not really sure of what to make of things. When your eyes fall upon another half-orc, you thought they were all gone. You thought they ran. This one does look familiar, after all. You're convinced that he may have been one of those that deserted. But lying next to him is the body of a woman. One that you recognize. Her robes torn. Her skin bruised and battered. Her blood cakes the front of her entire outfit. It's Thelsa. You are not even sure if she's alive.
I'm gonna check and see if I can tell if she's alive.
Okay. Rahk, you awaken. Not far at this point from Thelsa, probably 10 or so feet, where there's another half-orc that sits next to her. He doesn't take note of you. You see how damaged she is, and you realize that the wounds on her body are not the same as the wounds of many of the other people here. These are not burns. This is not flame that touched over her. These are tears, gnashing of teeth, threads like rivulets just torn from her body. You wanted to peer over the wounds to see if she's alive?
Primarily, yeah.
Give me a heal. Rahk, it's odd. You're not much of a doctor yourself, but you are fairly well learned. And when you peer over her body, you're not sure if it's living or dead at this point. She does not appear to be breathing. At all. Her eyes, however, move. They train on you briefly, before they look back up to the sky. The wounds are open on her chest, yet blood doesn't pour from it. It's like everything is halted. Everything is stopped. The half-orc turns to look at you, and with an outward jutted jaw.
There's something wrong with her. Something's been cast upon her. Magic. You feel it, put your hand right above her.
I'll do as he says and sort of reach a hand out, just kind of hovering over Thelsa's body.
A stagnating aura that seems to just hang over her body. It's this almost liquid-like aura that when you touch it, it seems to dance over your skin in a way that it's like clean linen, like clean silk, or incredibly fresh water. Can't really make much of it at this point. But when you enter your hand into the space, it just feels neutral. A neutral zone. No air enters. You feel the breeze across your forearm, but just over the top of the body, it stops. Definitely magic. Jakob, do you move over at all?
Seeing Rahk checking over Thelsa and the fact that she's laying there a bloody mess, he is going to kind of drag himself up and kind of tote the kit and the bag along and kind of settle down across, settle down on her other side across from him.
Okay.
And just kind of a blank stare at her for a moment. Now, could I go ahead and do a Knowledge Arcana? Just seeing her and figure out what kind
Sure,
of...
go for it. If you wanted to take your time, I can definitely give it to you. Just add 10 to it to make your check.
Oh.
Rolled really low, but you got what you needed. Discerning her position, seeing the state of which it's in, you are familiar with this. It's leaning a bit more on the divine side of magic, but it's something known as gentle repose.
Right, where it's basically treated, she's put into a stasis and treated as if she's dead.
Sort of, yes. But the body stops.
Schrodinger's cat style.
All of the natural processes within the body comes to a halt. It's generally only cast upon the dead. It stops the decaying process, but in this case, it looks like it's saving her life. What's up? What's up, Ulhime? You are awake after all.
I was gonna say, would I be made aware of this at any point?
Actually, Jacob's about to go ahead and lean back and turn towards you. Is Jenya available?
She's busy right now. What's going on?
Jenya's not even awake. She exhausted herself through the night. Not that she really had that much energy anyway. She's still trying to bounce back from the attack on the church.
Yeah.
Thelsa's been wounded. Grievously.
Ulhime finishes kind of wrapping up a child's arm that's been scratched from debris and stuff, and he goes, "You're a strong warrior. Be proud of yourself. I'll be right back, though." And then he'll pat the kid on the shoulder, and he'll start walking over to Jacob.
Okay.
What happened to her?
I couldn't say. Right now, she's under a stasis of sorts. There's a spell that's keeping the damage from getting any worse.
I've seen this one, I think.
You have, recently even. This is the exact same thing that was cast upon Dugobras' arm.
Yeah.
But this occupies a much larger area. Jenya's is still wildly, probably a bit untrained, something she may not have cast that often, but this occupies the space of like a coffin.
Yeah. Ulhime will start to observe her, and then as like his eyes meet hers, you see him getting ready to use his stick his gauntlet forward, but like it slowly starts turning towards her neck, and like as though if he's about to like grab at it and like squeezing at it, and then you just kind of see him stop, and he goes, and then he relaxes his hand, and then he uses his Archlich touch attack to heal her.
Okay. A hand falls across her body. It's a touch attack. At first, it feels painful.
It heals for 13.
But past the initial burning sensation, this is when it's delivered to this like almost cooled nature. His palm feels cool to the touch. It's like a breath of fresh air. Return 13 points to your hit point pool.
I'm at what, 14 now?
Hit points?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yes.
Good.
You were left to die and bleed out.
Yeah. I figured I would have been restored to 1 HP or something, or 0.
I can do this once a round. The only reason I can't do it on Dugobras is because he's an elemental and I can't heal elementals. So
You've never had to use this before, at least as often. Do you continue using this on her body?
Yeah, the second one would be my next roll. Hold on. Let me just do it individually again. I don't know if I need to do touch attack and she's not able to move. If it just kind of happens.
No, you as long as you can place a hand, she's prone. You may as well be like entered into like the coup de grace state.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't like
the second one will be
spastically
17.
do something bizarre, yeah, you'll be able to get your hand upon her. And
I want a kickflip.
This cooling sensation starts to become this like almost overwhelming cool as it continues to pour over your body. Your bodily functions are beginning to return and you're starting to feel a little bit better, but the wounds aren't better on your body. You still have these enormous plate-sized spots missing off of like from neck down to just hanging over the top of your breast. It's just missing. It's an opened, large-scale wound. You need something there. You need an opportunity. And you guys can see this.
Yeah.
You can literally see muscle tissue. At points when you cast this upon her, the muscle reacts, and there are at times little like micro splits, which reveal like the ivory of a bone. The skin has been removed. Like some kind of mad adhesion grabbed onto this and just flayed it away from her body.
I wouldn't know how to add that back to her.
Sure.
So with whatever bandages and stuff we had left, it would be kind of remembering that she had strong plate right there. It would probably be large cloths placed upon the top of her chest, and then heavy bandages that can support and suppress the bleeding well enough.
Do you dispel at all the gentle repose upon her?
I can't.
You have no more dispels?
I have no spells left.
Okay. Well, then you will...
The only thing was that special ability.
I can, but it's a matter of holding off until after everything has been done. I mean, I can go ahead and dispel the magic, no problem.
What are you trying to wait for, quote-unquote, everything to be done?
For the bandaging to be done, any healing that Ulhime is going to be applying to the body.
We'll assume that you take your time doing that. I need to know how many more times that you're going to put this
I would just
healing.
do it twice, because if it's starting to feel odd to me, because I realized that channeling even more divinity on one side is starting to cause my right arm to hurt. So the second time, I would probably not try to risk it for fear of either accidentally hurting her or doing more damage to myself.
I'd like a perception from you, specifically from you. This is going to be very difficult, mind you. Setting the DC very high. You're actually not going to notice it. It's something so extremely subtle, nobody else would notice this unless they capped like a 40 DC. But I set it very high, and you just happen to miss it. But you do. You place the bandages over the top of the wound, you try to keep it as clean as possible, you make her as comfortable as possible. Remember, there are also luck rerolls if you wanted to use that.
I mean, we're not doing combat, so might as well. Yeah, nothing.
Negative, Batman. Not this time. And then you dispel, Jacob.
I don't know if she's like floating or anything, but I would hold her head to make sure she didn't like just pop on the floor.
Okay, sure. You dispel, and Thelsa, you are back too. You're back in control of yourself. You can move. And courtesy of their actions just now over the last few minutes, you're no longer bleeding out. You're still tired. You didn't actually get a rest. It just feels like you were pulled away from time for a while.
Yeah, I want to just look around to analyze my surroundings, because my head has been facing the same way the whole time, and I haven't been able to move. I want to just kind of look around and take note of everything that's going on around me.
And it is the saddest sight. When you were pulled into town, there was smoke, screams, crying, and you were able to take all of that in, but now you can see for the first time. Hundreds of people gather in this courtyard. While it's fairly large, with this many bodies here, it's very depressing. Because there isn't a smile on a single person here. Everyone suffers.
Is anyone from the Temple of Cort here?
No.
Is Jared here?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over to Jacob and well, he's gone. Rahk. As I approach them, talk to Kiana. Figure out what happened to Jared. I'll be back in a moment. I need to go check on our missing party.
Honestly, fighting a mirror this early, you have to hold on.
And hearing that, Jacob is going to kind of have a light bulb moment go off, and just nod, start climbing himself up.
Once I was pulled out of this and they were departing, I'd try and sit up, and seeing that of all of my allies, most of them are taking off and not doing too bad, I'd try and crawl over to Dugobras and I want to check on him, because I don't know what happened to anyone, and it seems like my rest of my party just got left.
Give me a heal check.
15.
Okay. He's alive, but his breathing is shallow. His cheeks sunk. His arm limply and loosely hung over his body. It sort of looks like a child's action figure. He's just lying flat across a table, which is sort of like a mutton table. It's where the guards would regularly meet up to eat, and while it's damaged, it's still enough to support this giant's weight. He's in a rough way. You don't know if he's going to pull through. There's 9 days. 9 days before the lead elemental of the fire plane comes to claim his body. And if he is not dead, the town will be under attack again by the entire fire elemental plane.
It's cool. We got water in the center. We're all right.
Yeah, everybody just go swimming for months.
Stay in the water. Don't say anything. He's all Marco. You share one. He's all Polo.
Fuck!
Gave us up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit next to him and take his hand in mine and just kind of rest my forehead against it and wait for someone to order me to do something. But I'm
Sure.
not in a good enough mood to go out and seek anyone else because my friends seem fine for now.
Okay, Rahk, what about you? What are you doing?
I would likely be following Ulhime's orders and attempting to help Jacob find Jared and Kiana.
Sure. It won't take you long before you find Kiana. She seems to be speaking with a few of the soldiers that are operating under the worst kind of conditions. Some of them have damage on their bodies that they've seemed to wrap. Their armor is limply thrown off to the wall behind them. And they're functioning, but not well. Their eyes seem to, luridly hang in all directions. You can tell they're fucking exhausted. They had to operate doing what is probably the equivalent of a 30 or 40 man job between the 5 of them, under the duress of potential attack of goblins, no sleep, and fire about the town. Needless to say, they're not doing well. They're human, for the record, just in case you're curious. Only one of the half-orcs remained, and it was the one that brought Thelsa back.
Seeing Thelsa...
Not Thelsa, Kiana.
Or Kiana, sorry. Seeing Kiana, he's going to just kind of round the way behind the men and lean on his staff. And just standing clear of you of her. It's pretty, with a pretty obvious body stance of just waiting patiently for her to finish her job.
Seeing that the men are frustrated, exhausted, tired, and injured, she quits barking orders, and she tells them to lie down. Go to sleep. I'll shoulder the burdens from here on out. But when you wake up, get back in your armor and back in the streets. One of them immediately falls from exhaustion. The 4 others walk over to the wall. One of them leans against the wall, another just lies flat against his armor. And the other 2, with one's right side to the wall, the other's left side to the wall, they put their backs together, like they're trench buddies. Tired, but she stands there before you. Her face doesn't change. It never quite changes. She's always stoic in every manner and every regard. She was built for this job. She knows what she must do, and she knows the problems she faces. But there you are, with Rahk. You've been a thorn in her side for a very, very long time, and while Rahk doesn't understand, nor does he know, he's soon to find out.
Stepping up, he is going to lean on the staff and offer her a nod. How bad were your losses last night?
Exasperated sigh. We're down to 5. I do not know where Master Skellerang is. Jared is missing. The guard is in shambles. The nobles aren't speaking to us. Likely that they're holed up in their homes. What men remain, she points, are exhausted.
After a night like last night, we're all exhausted. As far as Jared's concerned, I tried to catch up to him last night after I came to be back, and I noticed that the only sign of him was a broken sword, and your armory was cleaned out.
I'm not worried about that. I have no idea. I was out making rounds with the men. The only thing that I am aware of at this point is that you stand before me when you were hung. Take off this silly mask.
Nodding to himself, he's going to do just that. He is going to just slip off the mask and just hold it out to Rahk to hold on to.
This is my first time seeing you without the mask.
It's a bit bizarre. He is, for all intents and purposes, a tiefling. With a human's leg on one side. He has smaller, distended arms attached to his gut that seem to break free from his armor and clothing. That's a new thing. You actually hear Kiana say that. She looks down to them, and then back up to your eyes. That's new.
Yes. You hung Klaus. Against my wishes, they rescued me.
Idiot. Why would he do that? Why would he throw his life away for yours? You didn't matter that much to him.
Well, keep in mind that Klaus apparently has a history of moving through bodies. I think his intention was just to satisfy the will of the people, give you a body, save my fucking worthless life.
A trick, then. But now a man is dead. Which I suppose that's just another to throw on top of the bodies. Well, I don't understand that how he's switched these bodies, as you say, and you can kind of see her, like, her eyelids lull for a moment. She shakes it away. I don't quite gather why he was capable of what he's done.
I could explain it, but in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Is he coming back?
As far as I understand it, he would normally have been back by now.
So, did he meet his end life? A truer death, it seems.
I think it's possible. Because not long after the way I came to be back is, and he's going to stop and he's going to think about the wisdom behind saying the name, by my father's deed. Hoping that that she's in the loop as far as who his parentage is, since
she doesn't really know. But she gives you this almost like whimsical blink, like an eye roll, and she just bats it away. I don't understand, but what I do know is that you fought alongside Lord Mayor. You probably saved many lives last night. And while a man was hung for your crimes, I have to believe that there is at least a small part of you that isn't truly terrible.
You can see the truth, correct?
I can.
Let me say no innocent's death has been malicious on my end. It's been, weak as the term is, an accident. Victims of my pride, of my overconfidence. And there's another body. Last night I tried to save a boy and an old man.
Stop. Stop. And she just waves it. I don't need to know. I'm sure he will be found and brought in. And if he does not look to be too badly burned, they will discern how he died, but I do not need to know. I respect what you're trying to do, but because I could not see it and nobody has reported a murder.
It wasn't a murder, I can say that much right now.
So it was an accident.
Yes. But I feel it better that you know about it now from me, as opposed to hearing it from an old man giving the description of what I look like with the mask on.
Very well.
Kiana, I don't want to run from any of this.
You won't be running, actually. I've had a lot of time to think about this. Between commanding many men, I've had a few hours to myself to think about what exactly I'm supposed to do with you. And your current state, that is, living, while surprising, I can recognize your deeds, and while they do not beget your misdeeds, you are still useful to this town, in this time more so than ever. And in an effort to maintain my vision over you, to see the merit of the man that you actually are, I'm conscripting you into the Guard. I am assuming the role of Guard Captain until further notice, and you will be my second. You do not have a choice in this. This is a punishment. But this is an opportunity for yourself to be redeemed. If you plan to be and act as the man that you say that you are, I have to see firsthand. And you already know that I can see through your lies.
Believe it or not, I was actually debating asking you to kill me.
In a manner of speaking, I just did. Your life is officially over. You operate for Cauldron, under my command. And you. Your name. Wait, you're the one that I met in the town.
Briefly, but yes, I seem to remember.
You fought
Seems like ages
valiantly.
ago. Thank you.
You're quite the talent. Why are you in town again?
Greener pastures, I suppose.
Pastures here are scorched. Streets are soaked with blood.
I can see that now.
Do you have any intentions of sticking around now that our town is in shambles?
If I don't, who will?
Very noble of you. I'd like to let you both know immediately that, from my understanding, things are about to become incredibly lawless. As it stands, the Guard exists between myself, Jakob, and these 5 men. The remaining orcs deserted. I can't say that I'm surprised by the nature. They were less trained. They had very low discipline. But at least they escaped with their lives. I'll be working directly with the Lord Mayor to discover what it is to do with the rest of the town. But there are things that need to be dealt with immediately. First and foremost, the streets need to be rid of the bodies. Secondly, we need to discover what was lost, what was taken, and we need to limit opposing threat. The people will go hungry. What few silos or stores that we had that contained food were unfortunately in Southern District on Magma Avenue. They were controlled by the nobles' homes. One of the men discussed this morning that he walked by the Lavender home, which contained our primary wheat silo. Said that the wall was broken down and burned from the inside. The fire spread to the primary silos attached to the walls. We don't know exactly what caused this, but we're about to go through a food shortage. Things are going to become very grim very quickly. If you still operate with the men at the bathhouse, and I'm assuming that you do, while I cannot conscript all of you, I would ask for your help. I know some of you to be good men and women. I worry for Ulhime. He freely moves about town. His body changes every time I see him. Which wasn't that far from the course with Klaus. But not in this way. I don't know what's happened to his arm, but it is not a sight for the people of this town. He's becoming quite frightening. I need you to monitor him. And if you will do so yourself, Rahk, watch him as well. We need strong people in the town, those that are willing to step up and take action. And last night, each of you did just that. The man, well, whatever he is, the giant, the man that's missing an arm, he fought bravely, but after monitoring him passing by, he looks worse and worse every hour. I need to speak with Cort. He was to be knighted in 3 days' time by Jared Skellering, guard captain. He is essentially knight to be, almost at hedge level. I wish to finish that, and I'd like to see the measure of the man that he is and what he's becoming. And I don't at all know what happened to the woman, Thelsa. The wounds over her body are not like which I am used to seeing. Keep your eyes open. Watch the town. Watch the people. I'm afraid that something is going to be happening, and people are making a move. Because this was not by chance. It was not by accident. This was a planned attack. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And they attacked from all angles. And I honestly don't know what to do from here. I'm open to suggestions, gentlemen.
Well,
You see,
seems...
she purses her lips tightly, and for the first time, there's a slight tremble in her lips. Her left eye starts to well. But she doesn't say anything else.
It may appear insurmountable, but It can always be rebuilt.
For now, we should just focus on collecting our dead, removing the bodies to go ahead and keep from disease, stockpile what resources we have, and focus on saving the lives that we can. As for who designed this attack, the best I can say is that we should probably focus on what's missing after we've saved everybody else. The kidnapping of Jared Skillerang, the collection of weapons. There may be another army right around the corner, or another force that we have to be concerned about.
Does anybody want to say or do anything else?
I'm not there, but I was gonna head to the Temple of Cort to talk with Ronlert.
Sure.
That was.
Anybody else?
If I might make one suggestion, we may want to reach out to the wardens.
I don't have a line in with them. I have no immediate way, and I'm afraid that we may not send necessary caravan or letter to them. Do you have a method of reaching out to them? Do you have allies with the wardens? Because I personally do not.
I've met the leader of the wardens once, and I believe it was in company with one he knew. I wouldn't say that I have a necessary in, but I can report what's happened to the city and make my way back, madam.
She nods, wipes her eye, covers her mouth. She's good. Go. Be quick. Don't waste any time. Take someone with you. Multiple someones, in case there are more outside of the walls. We need to know the current affairs in the opposing towns as well. If they had potentially made a move against us, for any reason, we have to know. We may need to requisition aid from Sassarine. If it came to it, would you be capable of delivering the message?
I think I can use these magics twice more. They're not really my own. But give me just a moment here. I need to go ahead and pull up a thing. Because I know his 24 hours is running out, but I need to just kind of get an idea as to...
You don't have much longer, actually. Because this technically started yesterday at 10 a.m. And it's like 8:30. So an hour and a half before both of you get your spells back.
Oh, wow.
God bless.
So, yeah, so he's only done teleport twice at this point. I have 5 more.
Okay.
So he could probably quickly deliver messages, but he'd probably, if you can, I can't take anybody with me and guarantee their safety, but I do know I can come directly to the wardens. I've been there before.
Fine. Assemble what it is that you need, and be on your way. Take anything that is available. If you need a seal, if you need any of the seals from the home or from the house, she's flabbergasted at this point. Just tell me anything that you might need, and I will put the guard seal on it.
Understood. I'll just go to your offices, dictate what we need, seal it, and go.
Now, if it's not a problem, I think I'd like to rest. I haven't had much of an opportunity to.
You've certainly earned it.
She sits down by her men, but she doesn't take off her armor. She's already exhausted. She's already suffering from fatigue. It likely can't get much worse.
And at that point, Rahk, he's going to turn to Rahk and just gesture towards Cort and Thelsa, and go off to Jared's offices to draft up a missive and get the seal before heading off to the Wardens. And hopefully he'll be able to just deliver the message and go, and maybe get to another city, deliver another message, and come back before he runs out. Otherwise, he's in for a long flight.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything from Thelsa now that you're awake?
Nope, I'm just gonna be sitting next to Dugro until someone comes and tells me to do something or asks me to do something. But for now, I'm just kind of, holding his hand and trying to make sure he's okay.
Very good. Anything from Rahk?
Nope. I will be assisting those who still need help, kind of tending to their wounds in a minor sense. I'm not exactly a healer, but doing the best I can.
Anything from Cort?
You said that we're not allowed to take a rest day, so no resting, correct?
You are resting, actually. When you moved off to the couch, you guys went into like a slight rest state.
Then yeah.
You just resting as well then?
Yeah, because of that negative H strength, he's just
okay.
Feels fucking winded, my dude.
You will likely, if you had decided up to this point to take a full rest, you will gain back your Constitution score to your hit points, which at level 12, it's not substantial anymore. It's not a big boost. You will also gain 1 point of your strength back as the drain falls off. Until you find someone with restoration or lesser restoration, this will remain, and it will drip at 1 point per day. We're moving into session's end now. Ronald.
Yes.
You decided to take the opportunity to move over to the Temple of Lordly Might. It's the House of Cord. When you move to the doors, they are castigate open. It is dark inside, but you can see some light.
With my dark vision walking in, as it kind of slowly starts to shift into that spectrum, do I see or hear people in the pews?
You do not.
Okay.
How far do you move in?
This is kind of... I'm walking.
Okay.
I'm walking in slowly, but like I'm walking in completely.
Sure. You move in completely so, and you try to discern the surroundings, and everything seems as you've left it last night, though Hronlert isn't quite there. As you pass by the first few pews, you see something a bit odd. It looks to be a boot, maybe a leg. You're not really sure what to make of it. But nobody was killed here last night, and the vampire threat was taken care of. Do you push forward?
I'll observe the boot that you were talking about. What's going on with it?
When you continue to push forward, you pass by 6, 7 more pews, and pass the podium on a raised area. There are 5 bodies, all parishioners of the church, clerics in training.
What kind of wounds do they have? Is it like bludgeoned? Are they stabbed?
They've been stabbed.
Is it a thin blade, like something like a dagger or like a shiv, or is this like something like a long sword, kind of width of a long blade? Or
what you see is a little disturbing to you, especially for a follower of Cord. Each of them are stabbed close to the heart. Each blade down to the hilt. The pommel itself is an elaborate decoration designed to adorn and admonish the support and love of Cord. This is a message.
Are their hands placed on the daggers themselves, like they're the ones that did it?
No. Interestingly enough, they're arrayed in a half circle, and their hands are holding each other's.
Dawnbringer. I'll continue to the back where I remember seeing Ronlert with his daughter.
He is gone. You pass through the entire building, and Ronlert is nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. His closest personal belongings were moved with him. His church abandoned. This is all you're going to be able to get to as the session comes to a close.
Alrighty.
We're going to have a 2-week time skip. And that time, I need one thing from everyone. I need a primary objective of what you're going to do for the town. Everyone will have a goal. Even if you're brand new, even if you have no loyalties, this town is all that stands between you and the wilds. Each of you needs to define, even if you have to do it as a group, what each of you are going to be doing for this town. Are you going to be defending the weak? Are you going to try to remove the bodies? Are you hoping to offer additional community service in some way? Are you attempting to sort out and find the last laugh? Goals. And we'll determine exactly how far you make it in that 2-week period. Based on the things that you ignore, will bring repercussions. Based on the things that you target, will bring boons to your party. We'll tackle everything else next week with episode 163. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. It was a little tenuous, quite stressful. But, all things considered, you're doing damage control. Any thoughts, concerns, causes, anything at all?
How did we do, given...
I don't know, you tell me. How did you do?
I don't know, I mean, it's easy to say I think we did well, but, I mean, there's what we think we know and what actually is happening.
Well, I think you guys did as good as you possibly could. You guessed really well on some of your rolls, and then when it was in your favor, you missed a ton of them. Hell, there was at one point you had a 75% chance of success, and I think you got 3 wrong in a row to end out with a 5-4 run. So that was rough. But each of those points in failure just meant that something more happened. So every point that you had in fire for more, the fire spread. Made it more difficult. Every point that you had in less, you were succeeding in sweeping it under the rug, making less of a problem of it. For survivors, every failed point meant more people were just guaranteed dead. Every success meant that that's how many people you saved, which is why, unfortunately, only about 40 to 45 people were saved in the survivor attempt. The healing went really, really well. Ronald guessed quite well on the round 1 and 2, but his last round brought some minor circumstance. Things went a little rough that last round, but he didn't quite catch his minor event. He missed it.
Like in a bad way, or...?
Yeah, it's a negative minor event.
Oh, okay. So
where the others suffered... Yes, where others suffered major negative event or catastrophic negative event, you only had a minor negative event.
Nice.
So, each of you were being pulled in very different ways. I bet you weren't expecting to be conscripted into second in command.
Fuck no. that definitely it boggles the mind. I mean, come the fuck on.
How better for her to watch you than when you're right next to her at all times?
Oh yeah, I mean, I get the logic behind it, but it just makes no sense. Here he is trying to go ahead and lay it all out, because he wants to go ahead and just, like, stop, sit down, explain everything, give the whole damn story blow for blow, no explanation, no cover-ups, just get the truth out, and then just get killed.
Sure.
Because he's feeling like he's cursed at this point. And then...
If you only knew how true that statement was.
Huh?
If you only knew how true that statement was.
Why do
Zip.
I feel like some of this bullshit he's been going through is by design now?
Maybe.
By
It's
that
gonna-
you mean all of the bullshit.
I mean, he's killed 4 children at this point.
The most recent one was just your fault.
You know,
though.
it's kind of bad when I have to stop and think about how many innocent children have I killed in this game.
You need to get a whiteboard to put up behind you and just like start tallying up.
Buy 4, get 1 free.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Oh, you killed another innocent child. Punch card.
We'll just do our post-show wrap-up right here, so anybody that's watching can get this. I'm curious what you think is happening with Ronlertz.
That fool fucking ran.
Did he?
Yes. Because if he was protecting his daughter, someone, I swear, I fucking think that either the Stonehavens, because they're back, or fucking Casmogen, they're like, oh, hey, we brought back your daughter. This is a gift for you. Fucking work with us. And he's like, yeah, sure, cool. And now that she's gone, he's just like fully committed to them at this point. He's like, no, fuck this guy. Like, this guy took my kid away when I got her back. Like, I'm out for blood. I honestly think that's what fucking happened. Like, I think he forsake his faith for the sake of revenge.
Okay. Okay.
My concern is, like, I got a feeling there's a much bigger force behind everything that's just happened. And I think it's even bigger than Nab the Torrent.
Yeah, it's called our DM.
No, like, I think that there is a patron behind the vampire children, that they got as big as they were by design. I think somebody was feeding them the goblins and actually, you know, holding them in the underground as opposed to letting them out, and has sicked them on us because they have a design of their own. I think whoever this individual is probably knew who Klaus was and knew that Klaus was dead. And I got the feeling that they're actually not working in concert with Nab the Tauren. I think Nab the Tauren actually came and revived Jakob and put him into play with a specific reason in mind.
He's thinking with his thinker.
I also think right now that the mayor, where he's like, yeah, I got friends. I think if he even, like, yeah, he's been to Oxypidus. I don't think he's actually allied with Nab, though. Like, I feel like it's going to get to a point where he's going to run in, like, either we're going to run into Nab or he's going to somehow run into, like, someone like Embarda. And they're like, he's like, hey, I'm just like you guys. And I'm like, bro, you're going to get us all fucked. Like, calm your tits.
I worry that it's one of those things where he's similar to the Blue Duke, where, yes, I'm an evil creature, but not so evil in action.
Yeah, like, I enjoyed the walk that we had. I just could, like, picture, like a random, like, villager. They're like, oh, look, Ulhime's walking the mayor back to his place. And, like, we're both looking at each other. We're like, I'm going to fucking kill you. He's like, no, I'm going to kill you first. And then he's like, oh, look, he's escorting him back. He's walking away. He's like, they must be close friends. He's like, you're fucking dead when I see you again. He's like, not if I kill you first, bitch.
And immediately I'm just shipping them getting to the house and just, like, hate fucking or something like
Nope.
that.
Good lord.
Worse.
Good lord. Well,
I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever had to try to have sex with the beholder before, but it doesn't work the way you're trying to think.
I will say that this was the original notes for the attack here. This was the opposite side's worth of information. Here was today's notes that I took based on survival rates, based on...
Why is there a bear?
Because there was a dire bear. And I was trying to look at
Dire.
for a size comparison based off of anything. It's seeing what kind of damage it would do in the town.
I thought you just, like, doodled one on the back. Here, I got bored.
And here was your basically your checkerboard of points to see. It came down to a lot of note taking tonight.
So, I mean, given everything, I would say I guess we did pretty good on the aftermath of everything.
Well, I would
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say that if not for, like, your great healing, we'd have probably lost a lot more lives. If it weren't for doing the fire break, we could have lost a lot more of the city and a lot more lives and resources. And even with my shit second and third rounds, I still saved about 40 people.
Yeah, you did.
And, you know, I'm cool with that. I wish we could have saved more, but under the circumstances, your heals and doing the fire break was probably more beneficial and saved more lives.
Probably, yeah. That's why I asked where you wanted to go. I essentially saw that there were 3 possibilities. There were definitely more things that you guys could have been doing. Things were happening in the interim, right? Like, you took the route of trying to break down the fire, trying to find survivors, and trying to heal survivors. But what was happening outside of that, you guys won't know. At least not until the 2-week gap when we pass next week. So I think that's about all I'm going to run through today. That's, I think, all I'm prepared to talk about. You guys have a little bit of time. Please, before the end of the weekend, get me your goal. I'd love to find out what that is. Especially the sooner you can get that to me, the better, because I need to plan for it. I'm actually at a state where I have to plan for your actions because it's happening on such a scale. It doesn't just affect you, it affects hundreds, if not thousands of people. So...
Well, there's no longer thousands. It's just a couple.
No, there's thousands. There's still thousands of people in this town. Just not as many. I already know the damage that was taken. I assumed all of this.
You can roll with it.
Oh man, I can't. You guys lost substantial numbers, but there's still folks here. You have a chance. Plus, there's an entire, like, almost northwestern side of the village that wasn't even touched. You guys were able to dismantle the threat very, very early on, and no fire got to it. So everything in Mavu and the Tip Tankard area, that's all safe. It's all good.
Yes, we still got the booze.
Yeah, it's not like you're welcome though.
I mean, he won't be in his uniform.
Oh,
wait,
no, I still got the mask.
Yeah,
I'd be like, hey, can I come in? And he's like, no. I'd be like, you want me to kill your other son?
Oh my god.
Wow, wowzers. All right.
I'll fucking cast black tentacles on him if you don't let me get a drink around here.
And with that,
Motherfucker, I'm the cops now.
this is where we end tonight's session, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Love your faces. Have a good one. Take it easy. Do what you do. Stay safe, stay nerdy, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow, where I will actually be playing with Sheepy in part 2 of the 40k experience, where I play Charleston Miles. Hedonistic 40k space drug warrior. I don't even know what the hell you call him. It's bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
It's bizarre. Come out. At least we'll do an early show before we raid on over there. So I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. We're out. Have a good one.